Yo, what is going on? This is Dr. Octo, and I want to give you a general overview of how the First Descendant works. There's a lot going on, a lot has changed, but a lot of the things are the same, so let's get into it. The most important advice I have is max out the Thunder Cage that the storyline is going to give you. I'll have mod specific videos, but with the assumption that you kind of know through the storyline on how to put your gun together, you want to make sure that the Thunder Cage is the first thing you invest all your resources into. Thunder Cage is a good choice because it has an AoE effect that procs when you fire it. It's great for mobs. It's also good on Lepic, and it'll work on Glay as well. It doesn't have to be this one, but having a maxed out weapon is going to help you progress through the game and level the rest of your descendants to 40 much easier. Saying that, the energy activator that the storyline gives you, you're going to want to put that into your Thunder Cage. Along with any catalyst that the storyline gives you, also apply those to your Thunder Cage. Once your Thunder Cage is looking something like this, you can go ahead and add an energy activator to your Descendant. While you're working on your Thunder Cage, and while you're progressing through the game and farming materials, you are going to want to invest a little bit into your Descendant. When you first start playing, increased HP is going to be your best friend. I usually went with a whole bunch of defense and made my Descendant tanky, and my power source was my Thunder Cage. This is going to help you make it through normal mode especially. In hard mode, you're going to have to fight some intercept bosses that can be kind of tough, but as long as you have a lot of HP and a lot of defense, you should be able to survive through the mechanics long enough for the party to melt the boss down. Just for instance, I had my Viesa maxed out, I had my Thunder Cage maxed out, and I was about 100 hours into the game before I ever fought Molten Fortress or Gluttony. This is not easy, this is a lot of work, this is weeks of gameplay. The catalyst takes 7.5 hours to craft, the energy activators take even longer, so the game is pacing you, so pace yourself. That is very strong advice. For playing a shooter looter like this, you definitely want to have patience and you want to pace yourself. While you were working on doing all of that, you most likely came across a whole bunch of amorphous material, core material, basic materials that you won't have to farm for immediately to grab a second Descendant or a second weapon. What I did as a new player is I went through all of these Descendants after about 100 hours of gameplay. I clicked on each one and I checked to see if I had even one part. If I did, I went after that Descendant. Knowing what I know now, what I would recommend after clearing hard mode is check on your bunny and see how much progress you have on her. Most likely you have a couple of these. If you don't, I have a video on my YouTube that you can check out. It's a step-by-step on how to get your bunny. She's a very good farmer and an asset to the game, so you probably definitely want to pick her up. Took about 15 minutes for me to grind. Next, I would recommend Enzo and Sharon. The reason why I recommend these Descendants first is because if you actually want to play this game and grind out the materials and save some money, Sharon and Enzo are going to be clutch. Enzo's utility is that he allows you to find and decipher the encrypted vaults much easier, almost trivial. The items that you get from these encrypted vaults are necessary to craft your crystallization catalyst and also your energy activator. Also a note on Enzo, I did not invest any mods or any energy activators except for health and defense. I use Enzo for one reason, and it's to gather those materials for my progression. I don't take my Enzo into bosses, so I didn't waste resources. The utility behind Sharon is she can make this entire game much easier for you. You don't have to spend a whole lot of resources upgrading Sharon. All you need is the duration and maybe a friend that can do some damage, but if your Thunder Cage is maxed out, you're not going to have an issue. With Sharon, you can do the strategic outposts and grind out ultimate Descendants and ultimate weapons at easier content for the same percent drop rate that you would have gotten going into an intercept battle. Let me show you what I mean. Using your access info, if you click on amorphous material and you type in whatever you want, be specific when you type it in. I'm going to put Enduring Legacy. On this page, it's going to show every single amorphous material that drops a part for the Enduring Legacy. Now I can be more specific and put Nano 2. Now you can see it's narrowed it down. In the key, underneath the description, you'll see linked reconstructed device info. I'll hit that on every single item and see what I have to do for a pull on my Enduring Legacy Nano. I have the option between hard Pyromaniac and a hard Void Reactor. This one is going to be much easier to pull, the amorphous material pattern itself, because all you have to do is run a mission and it's a guaranteed drop. But this one you can do with Sharon, and it's not a guaranteed drop, But the content at which you're going to try for your Enduring Legacy nanotube is so much easier. You can by yourself, with a good Thunder Cage, wipe out the boss to these void reactors pretty quick. So if you're finding the intercept battles hard or difficult, or you don't have your character where you want it to be, acquiring a Sharon and farming out other materials for other descendants this way is much more effective and way more stress free. So once you've unlocked a couple more descendants to make your farming easier, we need to go into leveling our mastery rank and also some of the farming loops. The most important one being the crystallization catalyst. This is your progression. So we always want to make sure we have these on standby. I like to have 2 in my pocket at all time with 1 crafting. The reason why I do this is because at a certain point in the game, you're going to want to maximize the amount of things you're getting done. What I mean by that is you will want to catalyst your descendant and also your weapon at the same time. Level both your descendant and your weapon to 40 over and over again to max your module capacity out. The energy activators aren't so important. This is more or less if you want to finalize something and or get the most out of it right away. Some of the characters you can run without energy activators, a lot of the weapons you can run without an energy activator, but just keep in mind you're going to be limited on mod space, so you're going to need to enhance or decrease the enhancement level of mods to metamax your weapon at a lower mod capacity. The first time you level a descendant and a weapon, it's going to give you experience towards your mastery rank. This is very important because it only happens 1 time per weapon and per descendant. The exception to this rule is your ultimate descendants. They are considered separate descendants. So you also need to level the regular version. Mastery rank is important because it's going to increase your mod capacity from the get-go with every descendant that you acquire from here on out. Leveling a descendant for the first time gives you the most experience. You can delete a regular descendant once you've leveled it to 40 the first time and you've acquired the ultimate version, but you do want to make sure that you level the regular version at least once to level 40. You don't necessarily need to get to rank 24 where I'm at. This is a lot of work. Mastery rank 20 is the maximum benefits that you can get for your modules. Beyond that, all you're getting is storage space. This is your objective. That's not the main part of the game. That is just something to keep in mind. As you're grinding out all of these descendants, which I would consider pertinent, and all of your ultimate weapons, at least the first copy, you're going to get pretty far in the mastery rank level. This is a whole lot of work in itself. That's why I said at the beginning of the video, if you have a maxed out descendant, the rest of this is going to be much easier. Once you get your utility descendants like Sharon and Enzo, the farm loops will become even easier. As I was farming for these specific parts, I would end up getting drops for things that I don't need or that I wasn't looking for. Some of them were great, and some of them were just like, oh, what is this? I don't need it. So I just kept going and kept going for that one specific part. Then when it came time to do a different weapon or a different descendant, it just so happened that I had more than half of the stuff I needed. My advice for the best leveling location in the game for all things across the board really come down to 2 locations. Since the Season 1 patch, Magister's Lab in Kingston drops a lot of experience. If you want to jump from 1 to around 15 immediately, all you have to do is run Magister's Lab. This is also dropping Haley parts right now, so this is a good farm. The only other place I take my descendants, and this is so I can get the most out of my Sharon, is Echo Swamp. I do the Defend Albion resources in Echo Swamp over and over and over and over again. If I do one full iteration, 21 waves of Defend Albion resources, this will push my character from 1 to about 30 something. At the same time, this mission drops pattern 24 and pattern 25. The only reason why I'm concerned about these later on in the game is for the energy activator chance and the crystallization catalyst chance. These aren't the best chances in the game, but as much as I run this, I've had 75 of these materials at one time. This is also a good source of gold, and what this mission doesn't tell you is that it drops every single void reactor shard in the game. Usually you have to farm the void shards. You just have to make sure that as you're doing the quest, you're running over the drops. As you can see, I have an abundance of every type of void shard. I got all of these from running Defend Albion resources in Echo Swamp. That mission also drops marks for arrest. The red ones are worth 1 million, the blue ones are worth 100,000. The only thing that Defend Albion Resources doesn't drop is the Kuiper. For Golden Kuiper, I still recommend the Valby run, but there's one thing you need to know about the Valby run. It's been nerfed a couple times, I believe. It's not a problem. You just need to make sure that the components on your character are specific to whatever you're farming. If you're farming for firearm proficiency, obviously this is a good one to have. But primarily in the Valby, you want Gold and Kuiper. This Slayer Auxiliary Power Port is a god roll for Valby if you're going to do the Valby farm. This has module drop rate increase modifier and a Kuiper shard drop rate increase modifier in gold. All I have to do is put this on, run around in circles, pick up all the Kuiper shards, along with all of the mods that drop, and then you'll take those mods to Albion and dismantle them. That's where all of your Kuiper is going to come from. There is no rush, there is no hurry. It's season 1. There's a lot of things to farm. The only thing that can truly help you be even slightly better than anybody else in this game is your luck. The RNG is real. Everything boils down to how many times you have to farm certain areas to get certain things. And then there's other items like these two that you'll be doing continuously through your entire career in the game. Alright guys, I know that was a lot of information, and like I said, I'll be doing more specific videos on each Descendant build, each weapon build, just kind of taking it as it comes. I love this game, I advocate this game, trying to build a good community around it, and having a lot of fun. So join our Discord, come hang out. Thanks for watching guys, peace.